The campaign to change the name of Robert E. Lee High School is being met with resistance by some Stanton and Augusta County residents in the form of these blue yard signs that are dotting the yards of businesses and residences in the area. The signs read, "Save the name, Robert E. Lee High School." Those that want the name changed, like Reverend Edward Scott, say the name of the school is offensive to African Americans because Robert E. Lee fought to preserve chattel slavery.
When you boil it down to the basic fundamental facts of the case, for our side, it's a matter of being rid of the name to be rid of the pain that it represents for a sizable portion of our community.
Surprisingly, Reverend Scott had many good things to say about Robert E. Lee as a general.
I have tremendous amount of respect for Lee. His intelligence, his ability, his adroit care as a field general on the field of battle, his audacity, his brilliance for strategy. I mean, in point of fact, I believe that Lee was perhaps the most gifted general on the field of battle during the entire Civil War. I don't doubt that for a second. I'll even grant them all of that. But his cause was wrong. So as far as I'm concerned, the cause is wrong. You made the wrong decision. It was a fatal decision to side with the state of Virginia rather than with his own country. He waged war against his own country. And he was too smart and too intelligent. This is one of the reasons why I cannot abide the name, is because he was a man who I respect for his brilliance, and because of that very brilliance, he should have been able to choose the right way, and he did not. He chose the wrong way. And what was in the balance was our democracy. And what threatened it more than anything else was slavery. And so if he had won that war, let's say the South had won, and it became an independent country, clearly the most serious reason why the South petitioned for secession and an independence from the Union was for the sake of protecting the right to human beings as chattel slavery. That's the reason. And the other side wants to escape that somehow. They want to twist history so that it doesn't involve slavery at all. Oh, he was not a slave. He did hold slaves. He did have slaves. He didn't want to raise his sword against people in his own family who would have fought for Virginia. In point of fact, his sister was from Baltimore, and she never spoke to him again when he decided to lead the Confederate service. Her sons fought in the Union Army, right? So he did raise his sword against family, right? So, and when people act as though that didn't occur, it boggles my mind. They don't want to know. It's too uncomfortable. They have become overly familiar with that name. Their memories are sweet, but they've never bothered to ask themselves, what does this mean for anyone else in our school? What does it mean for a black student in this school? What does it mean for my black classmates?
Reverend Scott has began distributing these red yard signs in response to the blue Save the Name yard signs. Ellen Werther has one of those red yard signs in front of her house. She invited me inside and told me why she supports changing the name of the school.
The name Robert E. Lee High School is representative of a time in our history, the Civil War, when a group of states became a confederacy and fought the United States. There was more bloodshed in the Civil War than any other war, and the war, regardless of what people will say, was fought so that the South could maintain slavery. And Robert E. Lee himself did not want to be a hero. So we lost the war, we lost the cause, let's make peace and let's move on. And did not want any statues, not want anything named after him. And during the 1880s, 1890s, after freed slaves had acquired some rights and were making progress, the Southerners decided to name everything after Robert E. Lee and build statues, and this just brings back a horrible time in our history.
Mark Jeter is a member of Stanton Action. He explains Stanton Action's mission to us.
Stanton Action is a group that's formed to make sure that there's inclusion and diversity in the Stanton school system for every student.
Jeter said the Stanton High School was not always named Robert E. Lee High School.
The school was Stanton High School, back, I believe, in the turn of the century, and then I believe it was 1916 or thereabouts, that I believe it was the Daughters of the American Confederacy approached the Stanton School Board and said, "School Board, can you change the name?" And they were doing a lot of this name changes to Confederate icons, people that are associated with the Lost Cause, as it was termed. So this was a chance for dog whistles at that time to say these are places where certain people are not welcome. And they were doing that through name changes, monuments, statues, and we're seeing a lot of that conversation happening right now. So the name was changed from Stanton High School to Robert E. Lee High School as a way to make people feel unwelcomed and to hurt them and to marginalize them.
Breaking Through has tried to contact several of the business owners and residents that don't want to see the school name changed. We left messages for Stephen McDonough, the owner of McDonough Toyota, and he never responded to our request for an interview. We also contacted the Virginia Flaggers as well, but they wouldn't interview with us either. The only person that supports keeping the current name of the high school that would speak to Breaking Through was Gary Fireball, the owner of Dick Fireball Real Estate. Fireball declined an on-camera interview but agreed to answer my questions. His two main reasons for wanting the name to remain the same are costs associated with changing the name and the school losing its statewide recognition for past accomplishments, mainly in athletics. Mark Jeter said costs are not going to be a problem and that sports uniforms and band gear have to be changed out and updated over time anyways. He has started a GoFundMe page, and in its first week alone, he has raised over $5,700 of a $50,000 goal to help with costs for changing the name. An elementary school in Richmond, Virginia, named after Confederate General Jeb Stuart, recently had its name changed to Barack Obama Elementary School. City officials estimate that name change will cost approximately $26,000. In our interview, Gary Fireball was quoted as saying, quote, "If I thought changing the name of every place named after a Confederate general would make everything better, I'd be the first one to support it. But really, who's kidding who?" End quote. Tomorrow, the Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities, VCIC, will lead and moderate 2 community listening sessions about diversity and inclusivity in Stanton at the Gypsy Hill Park Gymnasium. Now, Gypsy Hill Park's gym's maximum capacity is 250 people, and entrance to the venue will be cut off once capacity is reached. Anyone can attend the speaking sessions, but registration is required to speak. You can register to speak at one of the 2 listening sessions tomorrow, one's at 12 and one's at 6 p.m. at www.stanton.k12.va.us/community listening or by calling 540-332-3920. Breaking Through reporters Elaine Rackley and Michael Reif will be in attendance at one of tomorrow's sessions. In Staunton, Theodore Whitelow for Breaking Through.